does gender dysphoria tends to cause trauma? The answer is absolutely yes, but I also want to talk about it a little bit differently, because as a clinical psychologist, I have seen how people have lived with gender dysphoria for a very, very long period of time, because I work with adults. I've seen people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s who've been coping with gender dysphoria for a long time. So I've seen that while yes, it absolutely does cause trauma, I also seen human capacity to cope with gender dysphoria, albeit very unhealthy way of coping and very painful way of coping. But what I've really seen cause trauma, way more than gender dysphoria itself, is actually the environment, is actually the world, is actually people around those individuals struggling with gender dysphoria. The type of micro-traumatic occurrences that tend to happen to transgender people on a daily basis is, in my opinion, way more traumatic than feeling gender dysphoria yourself. When you feel gender dysphoria, at least you're feeling it, at least it is something that you have to deal with, and you find a way to cope with it, you find a way to deal with it, you find a way to address it, again, healthy or unhealthy. But when you step outside in a world, and then when the world doesn't welcome you, when the world doesn't support you, when by far the world doesn't have resources for you, when there's a big majority of the world that is still arguing and debating whether what you're struggling and suffering with is actually valid and real, well, that's a very big form of micro-trauma that happens to you every single day, directly, indirectly, vicariously, covertly, overtly. And that's the type of lasting trauma that leaves the very big impact on us as individuals, that leaves a very big impact on you as an individual. And that's, in my opinion, is way more traumatic than actually having gender dysphoria itself, because you can deal, many of you have learned to deal with it, good or bad. What you haven't learned how to deal with is the brutality of the world, and especially the brutality of people, other fellow human beings. People such as your family, your partners, your friends, who are being brutal and mindless and just very, very hurtful. It escapes me why people can be more kinder. People don't have to agree. People don't have to accept. People don't have to align their beliefs with transgender phenomenon and agree that it's happening or agree what tends to cause it. They can carry their own beliefs and be kind. They can carry their own beliefs and be mindful. They can carry their own beliefs and not hurt others. And that type of hurt from individuals, human beings, is, in my opinion, the most traumatic things that can happen when you're struggling with gender dysphoria.